You got 9 Brawlers first last season, and
Yeah.
I asked you which you wanted to do a video on, and you said Brock. Why Brock? One could say he rocks, he brocks,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. One could definitely say he rocks.
Hello fellow Brawlers, I'm KairosTime, and it is time to Brawl. Today we have another special guest with you, none other than OG. How are you doing, man?
Hey, Kairos. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, yeah. Now OG, that comes from like ostrich graveyard?
I don't know. It's like something I came up with in Clash of Clans and just kind of stuck. So
Stuck with it. The OG Supercell game. It was actually the second game that they put out. Did you know that Heyday was first?
yeah, I did. I never
Crazy.
like really got into Heyday. It wasn't like my style, but
Me neither.
love Clans.
Clash of Clans was awesome. Okay, so jokes aside, everybody, OG, if you don't already know this, OG finished last season as the #1 global player in Brawl Stars, and he currently holds the highest world record for trophies possible on anyone's account with over 17,000 trophies. That's intense, man.
Barely over 17,000, 17,001. So
17,001, just to put the icing on the cake right there. Now, if you guys, today's video, we're actually going to be focusing on Brock, talking about how to master Brock, because he did get #1 Brock last season. Let's go ahead and start off with Brock. Now, I gave you, you got 9 Brawlers first last season, and
Yeah.
I asked you which you wanted to do a video on, and you said Brock. Why Brock?
I've always like preferred the long range brawlers, and I do think I'm like one of the best Brocks in the game.
Awesome.
So I just wanted to like speak on something that I know pretty well.
Okay, we're gonna go and start off by talking about each of the game modes and talking about the maps that he is good at. Now, you mentioned earlier that he is kind of good on every game mode, but I guess we'll do a rapid fire mode. Is he good on gem grab?
Yeah, I think he's like really underrated on gem grab. He's definitely like one of my favorite lane brawlers. So he's like really strong on certain maps.
Okay, awesome. Are there any maps that you would not play him on?
I mean, Deep Hollows probably, Bone Box. You can use him on Bone Box, but if you get like faced with double tank, it's gonna be tough. And then Mushroom Cave, he's like iffy on.
Okay.
But the rest, he's like fine on.
So the maps where the throwers seem to really thrive.
Yeah.
You're just better off going with the thrower. Okay, cool. Solo Showdown.
I mean, he's okay on Solo Showdown. I don't play like too much of it, so I can't like speak too much. I know there are like certain people that do well with him in Showdown, so you can probably get away with him on some maps.
Okay, how about Duo Showdown?
Duo Showdown, like he seems to like do a little better, just because you can have like one like tanky character to like kind of keep your distance from everyone else. Yeah, he's definitely like up there for Duo Showdown.
Okay. Heist?
Heist, he's pretty decent on like a few maps. Safe Zone's definitely his best map. You can use him on Bandit Stash too pretty well. Just gotta like keep your distance, like chip down their tanks, throwers, etc.
Okay. And then Brawl Ball. Do you ever play him on Brawl Ball?
I mean, I like to. My teammates don't let me. But Backyard Bull, he's like pretty decent on. And then Pinhole, you can get away with him sometimes. Triple, I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, definitely. It's a little bit too close in there.
Yeah.
And then Bounty. I think that's the stupidest question I've asked so far. Is he good on Bounty?
Yeah, people seem to love him on Bounty. I don't like personally play Bounty too much, but it's definitely like his most like favorite mode.
Him and Piper are kind of like a must-have, and then it's like whoever's third is like filler kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome, cool. What would be the first tip that you would give to a new player who just unlocked Brock, and kind of like a new player tips? What's the first thing you do with him?
I mean, he's a pretty like squishy character, so you gotta like know when to use your range with him. But he's also like really deadly up close because he like has such a high damage output. So it's just like playing around with him for a little bit and like figuring out like what to do in certain situations. He's a very like versatile character too, so like you can play him across like all modes basically.
What about some tips that you have for somebody that really wants to go from just good to great with Brock? They've played with him, they kind of get that feel for what he's good with and what he's not, but to really get to that pro level, what would you do? What kind of advice would you give to them?
I mean, it's all about like practice to a certain point, but you definitely want to play in like competitive games to face against like other like competitive players, right? And then you can kind of take it from there.
Okay, cool. So that's a really good point. So really just focus on practicing him, learning those 1v1 brawler interactions and situations where that works then. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so let's go ahead and break down his mechanics, and starting off with Brock's regular attack. What is the best way for you to use his attack? Like you mentioned, sometimes he is really good up close where you can just smash that button and just immediately deal some damage, but then you can also deal some damage from a distance. What do you find yourself doing most of the time? Going up close, going up shooting from distance? What do you do?
So usually I'll like try keeping my distance just because he has low HP, but I really love using him in like gem grabs, so I'll like play the a lot, and once I get like a hit or two, like I'll try getting position on them. If they like try getting position on me, then like I'll take a shot, like chip them down a bit, and then like I might just pop out like once or twice and hit them close range. I mean, in like Heist, it's like a little different. He's pretty good on safe zone right now. You can use him on like GG Corral and stuff too. Just kind of like chip down like everyone if you can, like stay behind the tank and just like try opening like the middle up for your own tank.
We talked about his regular attack. How about his super? What is the best way for you to use his super?
Well, I think like once you get to like know the game pretty well, you can like kind of understand like where people want to be on the map. So there's definitely like points that you want to use your super on, just like to kind of give them a disadvantage, like opening up the map. If they're trying to hide behind like a certain wall, then you can just like take the wall out. If you want to get like a good super off, you can like try like getting like two people like close to each other, but that can be kind of tough. If you want to get like full damage, try like guessing what way they're walking, so they like walk into the super and then they kind of get caught and they'll like have to walk out and take more damage.
So one question that I have is then, like, let's say you're playing Heist and you want to like obviously open up the way so that you can start shooting off some rockets on the safe, right? Mm-hmm. Would there ever be a situation where you would use a super on the walls to make way to the Heist safe when, you know, fully knowing that you would not hit any brawlers?
Yeah, definitely. On safe zone, I think it's probably best if you or the Dynamite open it up so the Daryl can have like a roll in, or like the Bull can just like stroll in. But yeah, he's definitely good for opening up walls.
Now, as far as his star power goes, some people think it's a pretty decent star power. Some people think it's underrated. What do you think about his star power, and what kind of how do you use it, or do you use it at all? I mean, obviously it's used, but do you ever strategically use his rocket with that little flame right there?
It's a little underwhelming for me. Just like 240 damage on the off chance that they might walk on like your fires.
And even then, they're like it doesn't charge up your super or anything like that. So if they can spare 240 damage, like walking over it is not a big deal.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely like one of like the worst star powers for me, I guess. But it has like certain situations where it's like semi-usable. Say if you're like poking like on Crystal Cavern and something, and like you want to like recover your HP for a bit, like the fire can kind of like cover the paths, don't like walk out there. But it's definitely like not one of the best star powers in my opinion. Some
other questions here for you. What are the best brawlers that Brock does a good job at countering against? Because some people say like tanks, you know, like he's good against tanks, but in my opinion, he does so little damage in comparison to the amount of HP that they have, because he takes forever to reload. Like what's the best brawlers that he plays against?
I mean, my favorite brawler would definitely be Spike, and I think that's like a huge asset because Spike's just like so dominant right now, and it's like nice to have a counter against him. He fares like pretty well against most of the brawlers, and like he can always like help chip in on mid, or like if you're playing SNG or Bounty. Spike and like the squishy characters, I find he does the best against.
What about brawlers that counter Brock? So like you go into a match, you see a certain brawler, and you're like, I'll let my teammate handle him, or you know, or I need to be really careful around this brawler.
Definitely like the higher HP brawlers, he can like fare like decently against them, but you got to hit your shots. And like it gets tough sometimes if you're like panicking, like you're running like low on shots because it takes so long to reload. They're like gaining ground on you. So definitely like the tanks. A good Nita can be a problem. I wouldn't say Tara. He does decent against Tara, but yeah, like tanks like Nita.
How about Mortis?
It kind of depends. Like close range, he can like handle pretty well against Mortis, but long range, like Mortis can dodge his attack easily. So you kind of like got to find like a space that works for you, and like it depends on like how smart the Mortis is too.
Yeah, there's definitely a big difference between somebody that knows how to play Mortis like yourself and
Oh,
somebody that doesn't, like myself.
Yeah.
So let's say you're playing a game of gem grab and you're facing off against another Brock, and you guys happen to be in the same lane against each other. What? Yeah, how do you win that matchup?
I mean, if it's like a really smart Brock, you gotta like just try poking. What I like to do is like I'll push up like a little bit, but like I won't let him hit me, and then like I'll start chipping on the mid a bit, and then it's usually like one who gets the super first, like they'll have the advantage because you can like take out their cover.
So basically, you just focus on dodging his shots while firing off a couple of shots at whoever's in the middle to build up your super. Then you have the advantage.
Because like usually like for me at least, I've noticed mids are a little more adventurous at the beginning of games, so you can like definitely like get some chip shots on them.
What about like an enemy Piper? Brock has to land 3 shots to take out a Piper, and she can take out a Brock in 2, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, max range. She takes out a Brock in 2 shots. So when you're playing against a Piper, what typically Piper and Brock, they keep at each other's distance and things like that. What do you do to win against a Piper?
Yeah, exactly. If you're like playing against a Piper, regardless of what brawler you're doing, you gotta like always watch out for them, right? Because of a damage output. But just see if you can like poke her, like kind of like push her like in a bad position, like somewhere where she doesn't want to be, and then maybe your mid can like push up and get like good positioning on her. But yeah, you definitely like have to be more patient if it's against a Piper.
So when you're playing gem grab with Brock, what is Brock's main role? Would you ever consider going middle? Kind of like Piper's able to go middle for gem carrier, as like a Poco counter or something like that. Would he ever be a gem carrier, or do you always go side?
I mean, I wouldn't recommend it. I've done it before. Say if it's like an emergency, like he can like definitely like substitute a bit. But I feel like Piper's only like so good at like middle because she has her jump, so she can kind of like get out if she needs to. Well, like Brock's kind of like stuck there. I've tried it and like it's worked sometimes, but like there's definitely like better options.
Well, awesome. I think those are some really good tips right there for Brock. So before we go ahead and end this, do you have any shout outs you'd like to give out to some people?
Yeah, like shout out to everyone that helped me push this season. Sword, he's got a great stream, Sword.bs, and then Bob Marley, he's got another good stream. Patchy Pirate, second best, Dr. Despicable, Anomaly, Alec26, like all those guys. And then just like all the tribe as an organization.
A lot of good skilled players there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, well, thank you so much for jumping onto the channel with me, man. For now, this is OG and KairosTime ticking by, and we will see you in Brawl Stars.